What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the channel. Let's get right into your news headlines.
And Nancy Mace. Congresswoman, good morning to you. I would love to get your thoughts on Pete Hegseth's confirmation hearing yesterday, especially considering much of the criticism has to do with previous comments he's made about women in combat roles. And you were the first woman ever to graduate from the Citadel. So what did you think about the questions and the answers you heard yesterday?
Well, I thought the senators from the Democrat Party yesterday were completely unhinged and off the rails, were unfair to him during his testimony yesterday. And what he did was remarkable. This is the mark of a man. This is the mark of a leader who cares about his country and his fellow countrymen and women serving in uniform. He wants us to be the biggest, best, strongest fighting force in the world and wants
Nothing
our
wrong with
soldiers
that.
to come back in one piece and win these wars. And what he pointed out yesterday is there are physiological differences from men and women. And so when you're going into the battlefield, he knows the realities of the battlefield. And like, for example, yesterday, the rucksack and the rifle and the ammo that a person is carrying, a soldier is carrying, is upwards sometimes of over 100, over 200 pounds. I'm 5'5", 5'6", 110 pounds. I can't carry physically 250 pounds anywhere. So he's making those distinctions, but also saying, but we can do this if we work together and we're smart about it. I hope that other nominees and other appointees had their number 2 pencils out and we're taking notes, because this is how it's done.
Well, you just explained what the majority of Americans thought from the hearing. Democrats, of course, with their own interpretation of Pete Hegseth's comments when it comes to women in the military. Here's one of those senators, Democrat Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts.
Obviously, because of Joni's history and, frankly, because of the excellent work she has done for so long on behalf of our active duty women serving in combat, serving in other roles in the military. I think everyone was very much focused on her. But as I said, where we've ended up right now is there's not a single Republican who's willing to stand up for the women in active duty service.
I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know this, but I know that there's a lot of women, or a good handful of women into the military services. They seem to do fine from what I've seen. I mean, they look like they do, but I'm not there, so I mean, I don't know. Are these women that are going into service, are they not able to carry out their duties? Are they not able to carry, the weight that they're supposed to carry? If that's the case, then I guess you don't qualify. You know what I'm saying? But if they're able to do the things that the men are doing, then yeah, I don't see if there's a problem with that.
Carly, of course, mentioning Joni Ernst supporting Pete Hegseth there. Elizabeth Warren calling out Joni Ernst. Your response to Elizabeth Warren?
Well, Joni Ernst has served our country in the military for over 20 years, and if she can support, as a woman, Pete Hegseth for SecDef, so too will women all across the country. Yesterday, we saw a lot of hypocrisy. I mean, Senator Warren doesn't even know rank because she called Pete Hegseth a general. So if you don't know your ranks in the military and you're interviewing someone for Secretary of Defense, you probably don't know enough about that job to make that distinction or to have the knowledge to make a decision here. So she should probably sit this one out.
Okay, so looking ahead to the inauguration, it's shaping up to be an event where there will be quite the unexpected group of people all together. We're learning that Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos will be sitting together on the platform alongside cabinet members and lawmakers. And not only that, there's going to be union representation there as well. The Teamsters president, fighter union president will attend. This is certainly not something we saw in 2016. And I think it proves that Republicans have a unique opportunity here to bring people together and get things done. So how will you capitalize on that?
Well, this is all Donald Trump. We said that he would unify the country, and you're seeing him do that in the days and weeks before his inauguration. The world is going to be a much safer place, and you're seeing people who haven't gotten along in a while. And in fact, you look at Mark Zuckerberg, he was censoring conservatives for years. Now he's going down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring, apologize, and say we can do better. So that's all Donald Trump.
Yeah, we can do better. But the thing of it is, my lady, that's all great, but does anybody believe Mark Zuckerberg? No, I don't think so. I think he's just kissing butt. I think he's doing what he's got to do because of who is in charge. I don't think that if this would have been the other way, I don't think Zuckerberg would have flinched on doing anything different than what he does. I mean, you can just look at that guy, man. You just look at that guy and know he ain't for you. He don't care.
Trump, and it's going to be better for the country, better for everyday hardworking Americans. And we have absolutely no time to waste. We need to get his executive orders done on day one. And as Congress, both the House and the Senate, we got to roll up our sleeves and we have to get to work. And we better deliver on Donald Trump's America First agenda sooner rather than later.
Imagine that combo 4 years ago. It would be unheard of. Congresswoman Nancy Mace, we appreciate your time as always.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
So much.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Meantime, CBP releasing the final border numbers under President Biden shows nearly 1.5 million migrants entered the U.S. through controversial programs like the
1.5
CBP
million.
One app and migrant flights, all since just 2023, both of which Trump pledges to end on day one in office. His nominee for DHS Secretary Kristi Noem won't have her confirmation hearing until Friday, but she is already speaking out on the consequences of an open border.
Give it to us.
The situation at our southern border is nothing short of an invasion. And over the last 4 years, America's border security has been purposely weakened and ignored. Our laws have not been enforced, and this has led to millions and millions of law enforcement encounters with illegal aliens.
Former acting DHS Secretary and Executive Director at the America First Policy Institute, Chad Wolf, joins us now. Chad, good morning to you. So a lot of people led into this country under Joe Biden. Now it's going to be Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, and Tom Homan's job to get them all out. But that 1.5 million people let in by the CBP One app and these migrant flights. When you hear a number like that, what?
Do you hear that 1.5 million migrants in by this app, that CGDP? I've heard of this thing before. So yeah,
goes through your
Use
mind from a national security standpoint?
Rights. Go in.
Yeah, absolutely, because we know that some of those individuals in those two programs weren't properly vetted. And we know that because the DHS Inspector General has issued several reports along that line. But I think it's an important point where the Biden administration continues to talk about how they have lower apprehension numbers along that border. But what we know is they simply stopped counting them
They stopped
the way that
catching
they've
them.
always been counted, because they created these two programs, the CBP One app and then that parole program, where they're allowing individuals to come in every month, upwards to 70 to 80,000 individuals every month under those two programs
80,000
that would otherwise be trying to come in illegally. So the flow along that border has not really subsided, has not slowed down all that much. The Biden team has just simply decided to count them differently.
What I don't understand is the following. There were nearly 7,000 foreign nationals exempted from terror-related entry restrictions in 2024. Basically, these individuals were associated, whether by country or whether by relationship, with some terror group or organization. So what's to be gained, Chad, on the risk-reward continuum by rolling out the red carpet for people who in any way, shape, or form are mentioned in the same breath with the word terror? I just don't get it, Chad.
Yeah, well, very little, actually. I mean, I think that's the approach that President Trump and his incoming team is going to have to make sure that individuals coming in the United States are fully vetted, that we understand who they are, and if they pose any risk, even if it's the slightest risk to national security, they're not going to be allowed to come into the United States and stay.
Amen.
And so I think it's very important. It's just a different way to look at border security, and over the last 4 years, we've seen time and time again individuals released into the country that are either public safety threats, right? They're criminals, they're transnational gangs, or they are national security threats. Because again, this administration does not take border security, national security, and vetting of individuals seriously enough for the American people. It's been proven time and time again, unfortunately.
But all of that is about to change. Chad, we got to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us. We very much appreciate your time, your perspective.
I'm Steve.
All right, guys, that's our news headlines for today. Hope to see you on the next one. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you on the next one.